Okay, guys. Here I'm feeling that the eyes are, maybe with a nice drawing, but uh, I feel that is kind of too much saturated. The colors are kind of artificial. The color. So I was looking here, and something that I usually do when this happens to me, I like to change the texture in Photoshop, just like doing a basic UV UV master. You unwrap basic UVs, and then you export the diffuse to Photoshop, and then you can unsaturate desaturate this a little bit. I'm not sure if we could do this over here. I believe not. So yeah, let's try to do it very easily. Uh, Once again, I remember the key I press. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna use simple UV master, but as we have subdivision levels in our eye structure, our eyes model, we're gonna need to work in a clone version, because once you try to unwrap it right now, it's gonna say that this function just work in the first subdivision level, and then blah blah blah. Yeah, you can also lower your model to the first subdivision and try to unwrap. It's gonna works, but you won't be able to flatten the UVs because it has it's a mesh with subdivision levels. So if you want to check how the UVs are working, you have to work in a clone like this, and then you can flatten the UVs and check how it's working right now. But if not, you can just go back. Where is? I believe it's here. Yeah. We actually don't need to check the UVs because the simple UV unwrap here, it's gonna works. So now I'm gonna go back to my highest subdivision level, and then I'm gonna export the diffuse map to a texture. You have many ways to do this. One of them is by using this multi-map exporter. So you can disable displacement, vector displacement, normal map, export mesh. We just want the texture from Polypaint, right? So select texture from Polypaint here. You can check export options. We don't have any option for textures, for texture from Polypaint. If you're exporting like displacement, normal map, ambient occlusion, and all of those maps, you can click here and you can check all the options that you have for each of these options, right? So let me go back here. Here the map size. I don't even need this 8K map, but as it's just for changing the colors and everything, we can leave it like 4K. I think. Let's try. Or then you can use the 8K map, and after you can delete if you don't want to waste your storage. But yeah, leave it like that. Doesn't matter too much. And let's save into a folder of in our project, and eyes diff and right in the top left top here it was saying that it was generating the maps, and there it is, all maps created and exported. So let's go into the maps and let's open that in Photoshop. Good, just drag and drop it here, and now you have this this diffuse map for the eyes. What we can do here, let me open the PureHef so we can compare with that image, that Anthony Hopkins. What are we gonna do here is to add an adjustment layer, some adjustment layers. Let's have a look here. We could even copy this image, you know, select Ctrl C, and in Photoshop Ctrl V. You can create like another layer, or even using this one also you can select your brush and you can use this color picker. Just to check how are the palette colors, how saturated are they. With Alt key you use the color picker and then you paint normally. Just to check the average colors that you're gonna have here. And now let me disable the always on top for PureHef, and let's continue here. With V button I can move whatever I want that Anthony Hopkins image. I can even Ctrl T and make it bigger just to compare here, and I'm gonna click in this texture layer and then go into this option here, create new fill or adjustment layer, and I'm gonna add hue saturation, you know, and with the Alt key pressed I'm gonna click right over this middle line between the two layers. Look how the mouse, the cursor changes to this one, and it means that it's gonna applies this effect just into this layer. So once I change some of these parameters, I will change just the layer that it's right under this adjustment layer right here. So if you guys are not so used to Photoshop, I like to use Control and space to zoom in and zoom out. It's a function called scrubby zoom. You can find it here and activate this scrubby zoom, right? And yeah, so let's change a little bit these colors here in order to reach this palette that we got. Obviously these colors are too much saturated, so let's remove the saturation like this, and I think maybe it's enough. You can try to change a little bit this hue color, this hue parameter, but I'm feeling that's not needed. You can even hit your brush button again, or hit B, simply just hitting B, and with Alt key pressed you can click and try this. Yeah, I think I pretty much close. Maybe sometimes they can be brighter than our here, and for Anthony, let's check. Yeah, it's pretty much the same, I guess. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it like this for this time. And oh yes, if you were not being able to see these parameters here, you can always double click into this image and the adjustment layer, and it gonna opens a window with these parameters, right? So the hue, gonna change the hue, saturation, change the saturation, and lightness, the lightness. Disable this top layer that we just used for comparison, and file, save as, and you can save another version, or yeah, I won't save it on it. I'm gonna save it like this, and disable layers option, you can save it as JPEG normally, and hit save button. Okay, and then let's import right now this texture and use as a texture for the eyes on our character. Go over texture, import, and import that new JPEG that we just generated. Select this one, and under this tool palette you go over the texture map here. I like to use click the shift button always to open any any palette that I want to use, because it will keeps my viewing angle from where I'm clicking. If I just click, it's gonna go back to the top, and I hate this. So the shift button also makes you able to open more than just one palette. So I like to use with pressing shift button, as you can see it here. So texture map, and click over this field, and now you're gonna click the last one because the image is already loaded here, right? So you just click over here, and as you can see, it's totally weird. Why? Because we need to invert the axis for this image, because ZBrush works with flip V image. So you click this one and flip V, and now load it again here, and there it is. You can turn off your texture, and you can compare this, right? As you can see, it loses this specular, movable specular, because it changes the material. This is now just a basic material with texture layer. As we faked the specular over here, it also works. But if you didn't painted any specular, you can you can use this texture and paint a new color, a new polypaint from this texture. So this is our last polypaint, and this is our new texture. If we want to see how it's gonna works in Typeplastic, we're gonna need to transform this texture map information into a polypaint information. So in order to do this, you can go and hit here over this polypaint palette. You can hit polypaint from texture. It's gonna grabs this color information to your polypaint, and mRGB draw mode is off, so you're gonna have to turn on here this button and polypaint from texture. There it is. Now it already disabled our texture, and now this is polypaint information. You can turn off like we were doing, in my case with Shift+C button, and there it is. Now we have polypaint in the model. Let me just undo, because I'm gonna create two versions just to compare this. So I undo, I have it here. I'm gonna duplicate and remove this visualization, and now do it once again, polypaint from texture. Good, perfectly. And now I have two eyes, like, just in order to compare. Let me remove this texture in the first, and there it is, the two versions. But let's paint in Typeplastic so we can have the same. Enable the M button, material channel, go over color and fill objects. Good, there it is. The first one was too much saturated and too much bright, and now it's more natural. I think maybe it's closer to our reference on Anthony Hopkins. And now we are better able to compare and make more adjustments on his all his head, right? Like here, I'm feeling that this. Oh wait, let me just do some little adjustment here. I was feeling this nostril. A little bit lower than into this. Yeah, that's it. So now let's go over. I think maybe do his dents, his teeth, and after we can go back and change it more the face in order to match with our model. Okay, let's go over next lecture.